tonight. I woke up to the refinery glow, feeling my hands still running low. Blueprints stacked on the bench again, every new fix just leads to 10. Walls go up, then the hunger grows, another upgrade, another load. I built this place with my own two hands, now it keeps asking me to stand. I'm tired, but I'm still here, counting every scrap I clear. If I keep my head on straight, it's worth it in the end. Gather the fuel at the edge of town, drag it back when the sun goes down. Research lines on a cracked up screen, chasing what this whole thing means. I upgrade one, then I need two more. That's the kind of life I can't ignore. It's frustrating, yeah, I won't pretend, but I'm not leaving this halfway built. I'm tired, but I'm still here, counting every scrap I clear. If I keep my head on straight, maybe this will turn to fate. Worth it in the end, worth it in the end. I keep on building, I keep on bending. Worth it in the end, worth it in the end. Every hard day, every slow spend, I tell myself it's worth it in the end. Someday I'll stand at the gate and see what all this grind creates. Every footstep, every small repair will look like a map when I get there. Worth it in the end. Ooh. Worth it in the end. I keep on building, I keep on bending. Worth it in the end, worth it in the end. I've come too far to just give in, so I keep on going, I keep believing. Down, eyes up, we came to play. One last hit, then we all say, close by close, we hold our line. Steel in the breath and fire in the mind. No empty throne, no lone wolf run. Every hard round brings us as one. Hear that shout, it rolls through the floor. One more clash, then we want more. Shoulder to shoulder, we rise in the glow. Tightest fight makes the whole room grow. Stand as one, stand as one. Close battle, still we come. Stand as one, stand as one. We fight hard, then we build this home. Stand as one, stand as one. Every hand keeps lifting someone. Stand as one, stand as one. We play for the league, we play for the bond. Quick right turn and near miss spark. One clean break, then back to the dark. Tiny margins, big brave hearts. One shared win from a dozen starts. New names, old friends, same battle cry. We learn your moves and we cheer you by. When the dust sets, we stay in the ring. Win or lose, we still fear that shout. It rolls through the floor. One more clash, then we want more. Shoulder to shoulder, we rise in the glow. Tightest fight makes the whole
All right, hello, welcome everybody to another edition of Illuvium Arena House League. We've got about 20 competitors here today trying to build their collection just by playing the game. We have a bunch of different storylines to potentially be going over here today as well. But at the end of the day, just trying to have an absolute blast here with our Illuvium community. Looking forward to an absolute awesome event. Of course, with the Illuvium Arena House League, again, we've got ourselves two divisions. We have the Carablu Cup, and we've got the Monarch Masters. We're going to be starting things off here with the Carablu Cup in just a couple of minutes. Carablu Cup in particular, this one is all about ownership off. Being able to play in a completely even playing field, regardless of what your alluvial collection happens to look like. You will have the exact same alluvials as everybody else, so it is a perfect place for everybody to get started in Illuvium as a whole, let alone Arena and House League. And of course, Monarch Masters, that's where the ownership bond portion comes in. Those players that have been here since like 2022, and heck, even maybe a little bit beforehand, because some of you got your collections pretty quickly, all things considered, but leveling them up, getting your collections, and showcase them all here on stream. Potentially getting some prizes, of course, with all of that here as well. Good to see everybody in the chat. We saw Ethan there. We see Darkstar, Blazin, Zaxi, Awaken, Kirito. Good to see everybody. Looking forward to seeing all of you on the battlefield in just a couple minutes' time. Or if you're in the last game, of course, maybe an hour or so from now. But nonetheless, we'll be in a little bit. Nonetheless, I'm happy all of you are here. In terms of our starting order, I kind of touched on it just a second ago. Let me show you exactly what I'm talking about. At least in terms of our order, we've got, again, Carablu Cup starting us off. That's going to be Awaken. We'll have Darkstar. We'll have Ethit, Robert Tacho, Warrior Ace, and Zexy. Right after that, it will be the Monarch Masters, and this one's pretty close to full here. We've got Blazin, Gatling, Hunter, Coyote Hype, Kira, Matter 1, and Zico Perico. Last but not least will be our Monarch Masters main event with Hector from Mad Dogs. We've got Kirito Hype, Stota Hype, Thanatos, and Wolverine 777 Hype. Of course, all those players playing for a mixture of alluvial packs that are graciously provided by Illuvium themselves. Thank you so much again for supporting Illuvium Arena House League, making it so that these prizes can be earned just by playing the game, and that, again, I don't have to do anything out of pocket for this, and that's absolutely incredible. Thank you for making this possible, Illuvium. Absolutely, big time thank you. Then in regards to the community rescue pricing as well, those are all community donations that have gone towards the community rescue, which in turn, especially for the Carablu Cup, when they're just starting to build their collection, we can help build that collection for them just because they're playing the game. Gonna quickly take a look at the lobby here in just a moment. My display cap might be broke here for a quick second, and it'll show deathmatch for a minute. There we go. And now, there we go. Let's take a look at our lobby. I've got 5 out of 5, I think. 5 out of 6. 5 out of 6 as of this moment. I've got Awaken here. I've got Zexy, Warrior Ace, Robert Tacho, and Darkstar, which means we're just missing Ethit, which means I probably have to throw the code into YouTube chat. I know Discord doesn't necessarily behave for them sometimes. So, Ethit in the chat in just a second here. 3, 2, 1. There you go. Give you the code that way. Thank you, Zexy, as well, for firing off in there. But this will be pretty exciting. This is also going to be the first competitive or semi-competitive setting, since we've gotten not just a balance patch, but also an actual update to Illuvium Arena. Of course, the big thing that's going to stand out massively here for today's House League and for this update in particular is, of course, the value of links is absolutely going to the moon, in my opinion, since you can now choose pretty much 9 times out of 10 exactly the links that you want to evolve into, and you can actually incorporate the links without having too much randomness be affected. So basically, again, you can choose whichever links you want. The only issue is if there is a tier 0 that is conflicting with the style you want. So let's say if I wanted the fully evolved Stoic Flora link. So that's the links being a nature and a bulwark. If there happens to be a nature Grocko in the game, then I'm out of luck. But on any other instances, I can pick exactly the one that I want. And let's be honest, I probably have a backup of sorts if that does happen to be taken. So links is being able to essentially be consistently added into team comps. I'm very curious, especially when we get into the Monarch Masters later on, where it's our closest experience to it being like big guns versus big guns. Do the linkses take more of a priority rather than just having the 2 baby linkses and then selling them off later? I'm very curious about that. Looks like we're still waiting for Ethan as of this moment. I do see you in the chat though, so I imagine you're on your way. There, of course, wasn't, like I was saying before, there was the update a couple days ago. So the download might be happening, but that's okay. We'll give them a couple moments here. And potentially one more. 1 second here. Did not see as I was setting up to go live. One more person would like to join. I would just double checking here, see which division they want to get into. Because if they want to go into Carablu Cup, we'll need them like right here, right now. Best to make it happen though. Yeah, because I did get a message from Luca saying that they would like to join. I'm just trying to confirm whether or not they're in Carablu Cup or Monarch Masters. And then we'll be getting started with our first game of the day very, very shortly. We'll bring them into Monarch Masters in the second game of the day. That works out perfect. Okay. There we go. Let's get that documented. Luca, Atlas. They will fill up that B main. It is going to be a very tough lobby there in the Monarch Masters B main. And then, of course, with our Carablus, if anybody in the Monarch Master B main does end up no-showing the match, I'm going to look into the Carablu Cup match for people who want to take the bump up, giving the offer out in order of your finishing position. So please do stick around. You may get the opportunity to play again. Now, just waiting on Ethan here still. I'm going to give them another 2 minutes here. Guys, not seeing anything in the chat, nor am I seeing anything on my screen. So thank you to Carablus that are already in, ready to rock. Just one more brief moment here. Just one quick second. Oh, I see you in chat. And I see you in game. There we go. Perfect. All right. The gang's all here. We're going to start this up right here, right now. Yep, I got you now, Ethan. You're good. You're good. Starting the lobby. Perfect, perfect. I know there's a little bit of a delay between when I'm saying it on YouTube and then when you receive it. So that's why I give a couple of minutes just in case. But yeah, this will be exciting. Of course, one of the storylines going into today, of course, is the fact that Robert Tacho does have their tie currently with Sota Hype in regards to being the player that's won the most games in Illuvium Arena House League as a whole. Of course, Sota Hype is in the Monarch Masters side of things, Robert Tachos in Carablu Cup, but I'm still keeping that stack combined. And no matter what, if I do end up separating it, they're the leaders in their own regard, so to speak. They're in their own divisions. But as a whole, it would be really, really interesting to see if Robert Tacho can maybe break that tie nice and early here in Illuvium Arena. But they've also been having a little bit of an off month, so to speak, in terms of, at least back in maybe a month ago, they were winning maybe every other week or so. But as we started getting more and more people involved with Carablu Cup, we have been seeing that, like, they've been still making podiums, but getting that win is definitely a lot harder, it seems, nowadays here, even in the Carablu Cup itself. So I'm looking forward to seeing what Robert Tacho is cooking up. I'm looking forward to seeing what everybody's cooking up, of course, as always. And then, of course, with Darkstar, they had their very first week of House League just last week, and they won the damn thing. So that was pretty impressive, if I do say so myself. And it looks like the gang's all here, only the 2 bots in lobby, so we can get into the match. Let's go. Loading in. Thank yous for waiting. But the action shall kick off right here, right now. Now we'll see. Some people have been saying that maybe there's a little bit of an FPS issue on this map. So if it looks a little bit odd, we'll have to see. But for the time being, we shall let it roll. Our very first game of the day here in the Carablu Cup. Let's hit it. Here we go. So we have here on Brightland Steps, it's going to be the region. I see it's a black screen right now. There we go. That's better. Here we go. Brightland Steps for our Carablu Cup matchup here with 6 awesome Carablus. In this matchup, we have Zexy, we have Warrior Ace, we have Robert Tacho, we've got Awaken from Mad Dogs, and not last but not least, we have Ethan from Mad Dogs, and then last but not least, we have Darkstar, last week's winner. Of course, I was talking about the region a second ago. That's going to be Brightland Steps. So we're going to be starting off with immediately 20 free rerolls. So you can play a little bit riskier if you'd like to, getting a little bit of a better chance at maybe finding those Illuvials that you'd like. We did just hit round 4 a second ago. So while Zexy and Darkstar take to the battlefield, let's take a look and see what everybody's picking up in terms of their weapons. Zexy's got that Emberling Rod playing for my Heartwire, aren't we? It looks like even maybe a Toxic Harbinger setup coming on through here from Zexy to start things off. Darkstar, the person that Zexy's playing up against right now, does also have a Scion staff in hand, specifically the Earth Scion weapon. The Earthgrass Scepter. Ethan, the tried and true Galewind Bow coming on back. That's your air fighter weapon. Awaken, going to be picking up the Vinebound Cleaver, nature rogue weapon. And it looks like they're the only rogue player as of this moment, so not too bad of a situation. Robert Tacho also going to be picking up that Earthgrass Scepter. And then last but not least, Warrior Ace going to be picking up the Aqua Blaster this time by. So oddly enough, lots of Scions in the game as it stands right now. At least in terms of the Ranger. There is, of course, the ability to pivot. And just because you have Scion doesn't mean you're going for Invoker. Doesn't mean you're going for Harbinger. There's still many ways that you can play Scion in the game as of right now. And of course, with many ways that you can use your Lynxes. We're going to see Awaken be the first one to utilize the different, or being able to pick a different Lynx. And it's going to end up being, at least for right now, it looks like the Stoic Terra Lynx could be potentially what they're going for. And watching Awaken play over the last couple of weeks, and for the longest time that we've played each other on Ranked, I know they are not afraid to push for those higher tier Lynxes, even back in the day. So now that it's actually a sound strategy, they're definitely going to be happy about that one. And they're going to be very happy, as it does look like the backline duo of the Flish and the Archos are going to be able to get the better of Zexy here, even though a level down. And the Emberling Rod, we just kind of got a glimpse there. Unfortunately, that thing still sometimes misfires, so it's going to be a little bit rough there. Where's the fire? Blazin', I imagine it's going to be in match number 2, because right now, there's not a single fire weapon in sight. Jamie, good to see you. I hope you're having a fantastic day. Same here with Blazing, of course, and everybody else here in the chat. You're waiting, but the pop-up didn't start. That's the one thing that I do have the gripe on in regards to YouTube, because I did that earlier this morning too when Draknien was streaming. I had their waiting screen open, but it didn't start automatically, and I was expecting it to go, and I ended up being a little bit late, but it is what it is. Quick refresh, we're here, and you're still nice and early. Didn't miss a whole heck of a lot. We're just getting warmed up. Warmed up even though there isn't any fire in the game as of this moment. Look at that Lynx here again for Awaken. It's holding the line rather nicely, but Robert Tacho, a very quick Scarabok, showing up at level 5. Of course, a tier 5 showing up at level 5, that's like a 1% chance of that happening. So a very rare opportunity here for Robert Tacho to potentially take advantage of. The Kuka gonna block for the Ranger, and Robert Tacho will be the last one standing. And stopping the perfect game here for Awaken. So now nobody has a perfect game going as of this point, but nobody's actually taken a ton of damage either. So that's not too bad here. Like, Zexy's taken the most alongside Ethit, but still 87, so that's not bad at all. What I'm really concerned about, or not concerned, but what I'm curious about rather, is what do we have in terms of economy, and what do we have in terms of Lynxes? So we saw Awaken currently around the upper half of the board in terms of their credit situation. We did see the Stoic Lynx on board, potentially that Stoic Terra Lynx. Robert Tacho, double Lynxes in hand, still a very powerful early game setup. Dark Star does have the Virtuous Lynx potentially setting up for... it doesn't look like it's going to let me hover over and see what it's going to potentially get into. What are we cooking here? It could potentially be a Virtuous Flora Lynx, so I like that there here for Dark Star, considering it looks like they're going to have a rather heavy reliance on a backline DPS setup. Warrior Ace doesn't have much credits left in the bank, but they do have those double Lynxes. Double Lynxes here for Ethit as well, but they are borderline 40 credits, not bad. And Zexy with 20, probably the lowest, just barely though, of the field as it stands right now. Let's take a look at a little bit more here at last week's winner. We did see Darkstar on debut get the win and then perform pretty admirably as well when they took the bump up into the Monarch Masters B main. Able to snag, I believe it was either a 3rd or a 4th place there, because they kind of doubled up on their prizing after taking the bump and being able to take advantage of that. It's a rather nice scenario there. Lots of empaths on the board currently. A Virtuous Floor Lynx would definitely add a bunch in terms of healing, not just from the Omega itself, but of course another nature Illuvial being on board can make that healing over time, at least that percentage health per second, very, very high. Does make it a little bit easier and more consistent to be able to hit that 8 nature, for example. And how about that? Our top 2 right off the rip here. A very fast Goliath coming out here from Robert Tacho. Still level 5, so they managed to hit 3 Scaraboks, which each of those is a 1% chance. To have a Goliath at this stage of the game is nothing short of ridiculous. So big congrats here to Robert Tacho. But let's see if this Scarabok can do some work. Lots of bulwarks. It's going to be 3 bulwarks, so heavy defense, especially again with that big beetle leading the charge. But there's just an overwhelming amount of Illuvials here for Darkstar. They did spend a bunch to be able to get all the way up to level 7, and I think just the numbers game plus healing is going to be too much to deal with. Robert Tacho shall take the hit, but they are set up pretty nicely to be able to make a good mid-game run. And then there we go. That's what I was talking about. Hello, beautiful. The first time here today. Stoic Terra Lynx on the board. It's going to be Awaken from Mad Dogs. Looking to take advantage of that. We'll watch these 2 as well. Top 2 currently in this one. Got the TNT hiding in the background. Set up to be an auto attacker, oddly enough. It is kind of fun. I know the snail's not necessarily thought about as an auto attacker. Its attack speed, at least naturally, is really small, but it does have a lot of Omega power. So if you do put this Resonating Pulse Reactor onto a Scion like the TNT, it could, oddly enough, start to pick up speed pretty quickly and become a little bit of an auto attack carry as well as a big burst damage carry. But you have to be able to burn through all of the healing, which it does not look like Awaken's going to be able to do this time. Once again, a very similar situation to what we saw with Darkstar versus Robert Tacho. The numbers game here for Darkstar with that very quick level 7 is going to let them keep that lead, but again, with only 20 credits in the bank, that will be a very scary deficit to try and come back from. Now, one player we haven't really gotten a chance to talk about too much here so far has been Zexy. Looking forward to seeing what they could cook up here. We have what looks like the remnants of a wildfire kind of composition here. We've got 4 nature, we've got 4 fire already here, ready to cook up. And especially if you're going up against Ethit. Ethit loves a lot of air Illuvials. So say, for example, we've got the Arctase here, we've got the Fury and the Flare as well. All of those Illuvials will be going super effective against you. Or, as we say here in Illuvium, going hyper, which does add a bunch of additional damage, attack speed, as well as damage reduction once that bar fills up. As of right now, though, the Fury and the Arctase have not really gotten the opportunity to hit any of those air Illuvials, so it is not going maybe as perfectly as Zexy would hope for. Not too bad here for Ethit, though. The little mule, the little polar bear teaming up with the Lynx, and then the Revo got a head start, actually, onto the Fury. The Revo is going to live by a thread, and that is a ton of low health bars here for Ethit, but they all managed to stay alive in the end. The Ranger did their damnedest, my goodness. There's at least 4 Illuvials that were sub 5% health remaining. That was absolutely unlucky here for the sake of Zexy. That was so close. But a big win here for Ethit. As we get into the next NPC round, let's take a look and see what we've got cooking in regards to credits. Let's see who's leading. Awakened over 70. Ethit over 70 here as well. Then we do have in the 50s a couple of the bots. Let's take a look at our actual players. We have Warrior Ace in like 15. That's definitely a little bit low. Darkstar low with 26. Robert Tacho kind of in the middle ground here. They'll be above 50 when this round ends up completing. And Zexy also in the middle ground will be above 50 in just a moment's time. What do we have cooking? We've got composite chips coming into play. So trying to get some of those hard to reach or hard to complete synergies might be a little bit easier this time. One thing that's going to be very scary, I'm not sure if Awakened still ended up going for Rogue. No, they didn't actually. They switched over to the Elderwood Staff right here and went for a corner composition kind of style. Because what I was going to say is if all of a sudden there's no other Rogues and you manage to get 3 Vanguard for free, that can be an absolute devastating composition to have to deal with. But we're not going to end up dealing with it right now. Let's take a look and see. Zexy is not going to be using the box in time. Meanwhile, on the other side, what do we have here? Is that an Aegis chip by chance? It is. So potentially trying to supercharge an Illuvial in terms of damage, tankiness, and attack speed is the game plan here for Darkstar. Zexy is also level 7, so this is an even playing field. And we do have Granite online here for the side of Darkstar as well. So all of their Illuvial is going to be much tankier compared to their normal variants. A big shot here from the Ranger from that Earthgrass Scepter means it's just a matter of time before Darkstar shreds down the Ranger. Zexy going to take the hit, and once again, for the second week in a row, Darkstar on top here in the Carablu Cup. Hector, good to see you. Looking forward to seeing you in action later on in the Monarch Masters main event. I hope you're having a fantastic day. Robert Tacho versus Ethit. This is the old school Carablu Cup battle right here, and I want to see it. Of course, we saw the double TNTs actually coming out here for the side of Robert Tacho. We have the Invoker imprint as well, so this is actually the at least a setup for a potential Granite Inferno Invoker, but there's still a few pieces that do need to come on through. The Invoker is active, but it is just the 2 and just on the 1 TNT that has the chip. Meanwhile, on the other side here for Ethit, I'm not 100% sure whether I love the shock chip. Putting that onto the Quinks actually means that it's probably going to be safe. So it's probably going to allow for that shock, all that lightning, to come down rather consistently for a long time, because that Quinks does not die very easily, as we do see shot after shot. Having the TB root, or not the TB root go, but the T-Ruro as well, here for the side of Ethan, just added on so much damage, and especially with Invoker, when the big thing about Invoker is you want to get more casts off to get more Omega power and just hit harder. When you have lightning just constantly whittling you down, and now taking your energy resistances, it is a very tough task. Pulling it off is still very, very tough. My pleasure, and the day's been all right. It's much better now. Glad to be here in the House League, watching all of yous play. Now let's hop in with Warrior Race. What did they cook up here? So we've got a Behemoth imprint in play. So 2 Behemoth very quickly. And again, in regards to Behemoth, so every 4 attacks, dealing a percentage of the user's max health has physical damage, while also stunning. On an Illuvial that attacks nice and fast, like a Riptorus, that is absolutely incredible. Of course, Behemoth cannot naturally be given to the Riptor line, because they normally are Berserkers. But of course, with these composite chips, it lets you get a little bit funny, lets you get a little bit creative. And with that Riptor, for the longest time, it's still stuck on the twine as it stands right now. Zexy just throwing up an absolute brick wall in the face of Warrior Ace, and with the support line all that's left, there's no way that Warrior Ace is going to end up winning this one. And with so many Illuvials still alive for Zexy, that was some heavy damage. I'm not sure if that's a kill shot yet, but Warrior Ace does not have much time here to make the turnaround. And what do they have for credits? They had about 50 at the start of this round, so they weren't in too bad of shape. It's just a matter of what do they end up going for. We see one of the bots countering, or not countering, but contesting their Riptor, so trying to get all the way to that Rip Lance is going to be very, very difficult. Robert Tacha, are they going up against one of our players? Yes, they are. They are going up against Zexy. We'll watch this one live, as Shock is now online here for Robert Tacho as well. So this is Shock Invoker with 6 Scion. So when these Omegas go off, they are going to hit like a truck, but it's just a matter of staying alive long enough to get ramped up for that little Squiddy. The little Squiz has the chip. It might be able to do the most damage and get the most consistent shots, but it is easily the squishiest thing on the board. One more Shock as a parting gift, and Robert Tacho will hang on just barely. Warrior Ace, I'm curious as to what's cooking here for you. They're going up against one of the bots, and they do end up getting eaten by the bot's rake. So that is a very scary spot here now for Warrior Ace. They thankfully do have an NPC round here to try and get a little bit more credits for one final push. They are level 8, which is not too bad, but where are the credits going? Where are they looking to go from here? There's a lot of players that aren't even waiting for this NPC round to end, which is definitely a good choice if you think that you're going to be contested on your units. Obviously, the most optimal play is to wait until after the NPC round. You get a bunch of additional credits, which means you're getting more interest going into the next round. However, if everybody's doing that and rolling at the same time, there's a chance that the units that you're looking for might not come to you regardless of how much credits you have in the bank. So let's take a look and see the kind of movement are again here. Immediately, Gasatep here for one of the bots. We have 2 more Riptoruses. So there's 2 players that have not just the one Riptorus on the field, but one on the bench at the same time. And that is going to be a little bit of a scary spot once again here for Warrior Ace. You have that second Riptorus on the bench. You absolutely want to try and roll for it. But secretly, of course, that other bot has all of the Scorpions that they could be looking for. And they have to go up against Ethan, who's been very formidable now that this Shock has come into play. Robert Tacho picking up another Scion as well. The Sin-Off is here. Ethan is also going to be picking up a Furiox, some additional damage eventually going to be coming on through as well. But can Warrior Race hang on a little bit? They, of course, have that Behemoth chip still onto the Riptor, as that's meant to try to be the carry and stun, but they need to burn through this team relatively quickly. But their tank line has already fallen for the most part. It's all DPS from here. The Riptor is still looking good, trying to snowball. It does have that Echoing Force reactor on top of it, going to be getting more attack damage and crit amp as this fight goes on. But there's too many tanks, too much support coming on out here for Ethit, which means we are going to, unfortunately, here for Warrior Race, see an early exit. GG's regardless of where you finished. Of course, I do thank you for joining us and hope you had a fun time. But that definitely has to hurt here a little bit. It went for the roll down to 20, but again, a full bench just could not quite find all the upgrades they were looking for. We do lose one of the bots that were holding a lot of the Fennec Foxes, so we'll see if that comes into play now. Let's hop in with Zexy. They are currently the lowest player in terms of HP in the game as of this moment. Here for Zexy, we do see the Wildfire chip now here, and with the Crunk now being added to into the fray, we are going to have 3 Wildfires, so that damage over time is going to be ticking, which of course does also give Omnivamp, allowing for this already very HP regen based team to get even more. A little bit of a last minute maneuver here for Zexy to get them all in the best possible spot. However, that Forest is going to go on an absolute dive bomb into the opposing team. Probably get focused down pretty well immediately, and there is no phase breaker there to save that poor Forest, at least not this time. But in the back lines here for Zexy, we do see that Furiox that does have the Piercing Force reactor and is built to kind of attack onto supports with the big shields, but also the big tanks again with the Piercing Force, and then the Scythe Pulse reactor being able to get stronger the longer this fight goes. But they still need to find the kills at the end of the day. They're hitting very, very hard at this point, but a similar situation we're seeing here with Darkstar. They have the Furiox for themselves as well, but it also has an Aegis chip on top of it as well. So it is just starting off ahead of the game while also snowballing. So Zexy going to be knocked down into 14 HP. Potential knockout here if Robert Tacho could potentially clean them up. A handful of Furioxes in the game. Robert Tacho ramp fight now on the bench here as well. Would that be 6 fire if they completed it? It would go all the way up to 5, so it's not quite there just yet. The bot, oddly enough, taking the Rip Lance at the very end of the game. We knew they had a bunch. They will absolutely capitalize. Zexy spends everything in the bank. They're looking for the Monarch, and they get it at the very last possible second, and it's set up to snowball as well. The more that Monarch fires off its Omega, the faster it'll shoot. And it's going to be an absolute blessing, because in theory, that Monarch should be out of the line of fire compared to where that Sinolf is going to shoot. Where does the first shot go? It's going directly into the Ranger, but it's also splashing onto the Furiox, which means it sets it right up for the Octius. The Monarch's going to be short to fall as well. This is not looking good here for Zexy, even though the Forest got a fantastic angle on that fight. But with that, that shall be it. Zexy will be our second player to fall from this lobby. GG Zexy, thank you again for joining us. I hope you had fun again, regardless of where the finish or what the results look like. Darkstar and Awaken were going at it. That one went to Awaken. So now, Ethit's the one that's going to be on death's door here. They are currently going up against a ghost of one of the bots. Absolutely, GG. Wish you got the Aegis sooner. Definitely understand. Now, that bot battle here for Ethit, I'm not going to just gloss over it. In fact, we'll go back to it because, again, we did see not just the Rip Lance get completed here, but this is also an Umber coming at Ethit in just a second. We do see level 10 here for Ethit, so they have a 2-level advantage to try and just brute force it with the amount of Illuvials on field. But can these Shock Illuvials maybe whittle it down and find a couple shots here? Can the Octius stay alive in the face of an Umber? The Umber is so close to getting another race strike, and it will be denied. Ethit at the last possible second will be able to take down the Thylacine and keep themselves in the game for just a little bit longer at least. Robert Tacho did go down to the same bot, oddly enough. But how about Darkstar versus Awaken from Mad Dogs? They are top two battling it out, and it looks like this one is set up for success for Darkstar, with the Furiox and the Sinolf closing out that battle. An NPC round to break up the flow as we get into our end game for our first Carablu Cup, or our only Carablu Cup matchup here for today. The Carablu Cup main event, if you will. Of course, for our Monarch Masters B main, or the second game of the day, you are up immediately after that. So again, to confirm who we've got into that one, we have Blazin, Gatling, Hunter from Mad Dogs, Coyote from Hype, Kira, Matter One, Seco Perico, and Luca from Atlas. Yous will be going next in just a couple of minutes. All right. As we get out of that NPC round, Awaken immediately going to level 10. Ethit's going up against the same bot as last time. I have faith that they'll be able to take care of this. So let's go up and see some of our other matchups here. Awaken, are they going up against the ghost of the bot? It does look like it. So we're going to hop on over to Robert Tacho. They're going up against Darkstar. Darkstar has felt pretty impenetrable, but then when I look at the HP they have left, it is 59, so they're there neck and neck currently with Awaken. Can Robert Tacho keep their game alive, trying to stop them? We do see the adjustment made, get the lone Squiddy in the corner to try and direct the traffic from that Sinolf so that that beam is not going to go immediately into their tank line and into their big time carries. Allow for that Invoker to start ramping up a little bit. The Sinolf now being here means Invoker is going to be here. And with the additional chips still on the Squiz, it is going to be the Squid hitting very, very hard. But can they get resets and get those resets fast? The tank line is on the Scions, and this is where things get terrifying. There's not going to be enough of them, but thankfully, here for the... Oh my god, hang on! Oh, Robert Tacho with the absolute robbery. Between the TNT shot and the Squiz bolts, the Electrolink coming on down. Robert Tacho makes me eat my words, and I'm damn well happy to have seen that, because that was an absolute incredible comeback. But now I think somebody's getting knocked out no matter what, and it's our classic Carablu Cup rivalry. Robert Tacho versus Ethit. And both of these players want the other knocked out because they're both going for a Fisto. Ethit's about to find it. Hello, my old friend. Now on the squad of Ethit, looking to potentially get the knockout here onto Robert Tacho. But Robert Tacho does have more Invokers as a whole. Can they defend? That's a huge squishy backline, but can the lone Goliath hold the line? It looks like they're doing okay so far, but the Sinolf is down, the Octius is down, Aphisto's having a field day, and that means that Ethit's going to be able to take this one. Robert Tacho shall fall in fourth. GG's, Robert Tacho, a valiant effort. Great play. Will fall in fourth nonetheless. Let's see, Awaken and Darkstar. This one's still going. Looking like Awaken has finally been able to turn the tables. And one more player for sure is getting knocked out now. Darkstar versus Ethit. Ethit already got essentially the Illuvial that they were looking for. They found the Aphisto. That's the heavy carry. Hector with the call out. Top four in the lobby. 3 Mad Dogs. There you are. It's definitely a solid finish. But whose run gets finished here right now? The Aphisto's in no man's land here for Ethit. I definitely understand you don't want it to get lined up with that Sinolf. but it's now in the face of a Furiox and a Singe. It needs some shots quickly to find some value. The shot comes down. The Sinolf nearly gets taken down, but the Aphisto, the big carry's already gone. It is all on to the Furiox here for Ethan to be able to dish that damage. But here for Darkstar, they've got a Furiox and then some in the back line. We're seeing the laser coming on through. Might be a bit of a spoiler, but we do see as the snake spins here for the side of Ethit. One more final battle between the Archos and the Ranger. It's coming down to the wire, and it's going to be Darkstar actually going down. There's stuff flying all over the place, but when the dust settles, that is going to be a 1-2 Mad Dog finish as Ethit stays alive. Now going up against their teammates in Awaken. Awaken spent everything in the bank to be able to get this far. Only one coin left to their name. Ethit with 18 coins still available, but not necessarily something that they can immediately go for as an upgrade. At least nothing easily. The Fisto's in a little bit of a better spot this time. Let's get the charts out. Let's see who's doing the damage. Let's watch this Aphisto go. Let's watch this beautiful Blazonite coming out here for Awaken. Possibly pop off as well. The shot's fired. It's actually so far the Stoic Terralinks leading the charge here for Awaken. The big links on board just did so much damage. It's even outpacing the Blazonite and the Furiox. And that with the rest of the front line, that looked absolutely incredible. Awaken, welcome back to Victory Lane. You will be the winner here for our Carablu Cup match. Congratulations. What a way to start off the day. And sure enough, we were wondering if the Lynxes were going to make an impact here since this new update. Awaken was the only one that went for the big gun. And it did a remarkable amount of damage. But a fantastic run there for Ethit as well. That was an incredible comeback considering they were basically a death's door for those last like 5 or 6 rounds, making it all the way to second with their air-based squad. Darkstar with a fantastic run here as well, making it onto the podium with a 3rd place finish. Went for some Scions as well, but oddly enough, Scions were rather contested here, but still making the podium with all things considered, a solid run. Robert Tacho, similar situation, except Sinolf's, Octius's, but was just missing that final piece, and the team was a little bit squishy, unfortunately. Zexy, with the last possible second, found the Monarch, but could not quite get much further than that. Still a valiant effort nonetheless, and same thing here with Warrior Ace. Oddly enough, the bot contested them on the Rip Lance, which absolutely put a death spiral there onto them, but congratulations, everybody, and I hope that you had a fun time regardless of where you ended up finishing in the game. And then, of course, gonna quickly flashbang us here with the spreadsheet. For the victory here for Awaken, that is going to be 5 packs coming on through towards them. And then if they're eligible, of course, they'll get the most community rescue prizing in the lobby. But I believe Awaken has pretty much a full collection at this point. So we'll see. If they're eligible, that's a lot of community rescue points nonetheless. Then for Ethit for 2nd place, that's going to be 4 packs coming your way alongside a bunch of community rescue prizing. Darkstar, 3 packs coming your way, as well as some community rescue prizing. And then Robert Tacho will get our glorious Hail Mary 4th place pack. So they're still going to be getting that on top of the community rescue prizing. So everybody else in the lobby as well, Warrior Ace and Zexy, you are still going to be getting some community rescue prizing as well. I'll take a look and see what we could possibly do to fill some of these gaps in your collection. Send a couple of Illuvials, and just as a thanks for coming in and playing in House League and just supporting the game and supporting the event. Next up, Monarch Masters B-Main. Blazon, Gatling, Hunter, Coyote, Kira, Matter, Luca, and Zico Perico. And then if there is a no-show, I will then ask the players in Carablu Cup if they want to bump up. But it'll be in order of finishing position. So if there is a no-show, Awaken, you'll be the first one that I ask. Let's get that lobby up. We're in Leviathan now. Ownership is on here for Monarch Masters. Alright, just getting ready to fire it off in the Discord. Now, Warrior is calling it out. Super laggy Brightland steps, or is it just me? No, that is a known issue. It's an issue that I believe Daniel in the Arena Balance portion of the Discord realized it was a known issue, and in fact, I think they know what the issue is. They said that it would be fixed in the next patch. So yeah, unfortunately, Brightland steps, it's not the old Abyssal Basin treatment, where if you remember before, Abyssal Basin would get your FPS down to like the 20s or even 15. But there is a slight bit of lag with Abyssal, or not Abyssal, but with Brightland steps right now. So if that affected your game, definitely very, very sorry to hear that. Monarch Masters, the main lobby code. And once again, zoom in because I'm blind. There we go. Blazing. Hunter. Coyote. Kira. Matter. Zico. Perico. And Luca. There we go. Sent out on Discord. If you do need it in the YouTube chat, please do let me know. And then Awaken, please do stick around just in case there does happen to be a no-show. You'll be the first one that I ask to take the chance at the bump. Okay, Luca's here. Coyote, Hunter, Gatling. Loading up nice and quickly. It would be interesting if there was some sort of clan tag system where you didn't have to skew your username in order to put the tag that you wanted. I agree, because I'm in the same mindset as Blazin. Like if I switch, because I believe the rule is if you switch your name, you can't go back to the same name later. So like if I were to go onto a team and then change my name to be Silent team, and then I leave that team and I try to go back to Silent and I can't go back to Silent, I'd be upset 100%. Would love to see a guild tag system. Here looks like we're just waiting on Matter 1. We'll give them a couple of moments, of course, though. There they are, they're here. With the gang all here, I think we're good to go. Let's start this lobby. Good luck, have fun, everybody. And then with this lobby not having any no-shows, Awaken, you are all set. If you want to queue up for another ranked game or something along those lines, you absolutely can do so. Thank you for sticking around, though, for the moment, just in case. Give them a quick moment to load on in, and we'll be right in there with our first Monarch Masters match of the day. This will be good. But I'll tell you what, they're Awaken. I do not know what your Lynx was on, but my god, that thing was absolutely disgusting. I'm gonna have to go back into the VOD later to see what exactly you had set up there to allow for that Lynx to not only just tank a ton, but that thing dished out so much damage for a Stoic Terra Lynx. It was absolutely incredible. Not gonna lie, it almost felt like an instance where the other Illuvials didn't have stats on, but the Lynx did. That's how crazy the damage was. I'm not saying that's what happened. I'm just very, very curious to see what the exact setup was. Alright, we'll be loading on in here. Right here, right now. That's the meta. Spam it? Alright. I mean, I was spamming Lynxes to begin with when it was seen as terrible. Oh, was it Aegis boosted? That would make sense. Nope, that makes sense. And it was already a very, very tanky fella. Alright, next game, you can probably hear it in the background. We're just about to get started. Let's go. All right, our second matchup of the day is going to be the Monarch Masters B main. Here in Crimson Waste this time by, we're going to be getting nice and aggressive. In this matchup, we have Kira, Blazin, Matter One, Coyote Hype, Gatling, Luca from Atlas, Zico Perico, Hunter from Mad Dogs, and once again, I believe there's a bunch of additional Mad Dogs that just don't have it attached to their tag. Very quickly going to peek up once again to see what it was. It was Kira, Matter, and Zico are all Mad Dogs as well. So Mad Dogs all over the place. This is basically 2024 hype levels of lobby, or one team being on one lobby. At least pretty close. And at least this time, Zico Perico's on the winning side of that one. Unlike the Illuvium Pro League I remember before, where it was all hype, and then Zico Perico. Your Lynx needs a patch. I guess so. Alright, let's take a look at the weapons in just a second. But first off, again, I mentioned Crimson Waste, how it would be an aggressive type of region this time. Well, just straight up, you're taking more damage when you lose. 2 more drone damage every single time you lose. Then, as Zico Perico and Luca go to battle here, let's take a look at the weapons. Blazin going right towards their namesake. They've got that strike boomerang. That's going to be your firefighter weapon, the ranged one. We do see Luca also picking up the same weapon here. Zico Perico, it's a fire weapon, but it's the Flame Warden staff this time. That's going to be your fire empath weapon. Kira has been playing a lot of water and air, and sure enough, we're going to see the Galewind's Bow once again. That's your ranged air fighter weapon. Coyote Hype, Grove Sword in hand, Nature Fighter. We have Matter One, tried and true. We know Matter One loves their water team, and they've got the best weapon for it. Aqua Blaster in hand. That's your water scion weapon. Gatling's got the Ripple Flail. That's your water bulwark weapon. Then last but not least, the Vine-Bound Cleaver going on over to Hunter, the only rogue currently showing up here in this lobby. Just a second, we'll go through and see what everybody's doing Lynx-wise, because I know that is a big vocal point and a big thing that a lot of people have their eyeballs on, especially myself, of course, a long-time Lynx enthusiast, and the fact that you can pick exactly which Lynx you want in your composition makes things very, very interesting. Like we do see here with Hunter, they've picked up the Nimble Lynx and are going for the Nimble Flora Lynx. Meanwhile, we see here with Blazin and Coyote, they've both got the Relentless Lynx set up, but they can have possibly two different types. Let's see. So the Nature Fighter Relentless Lynx is where they're going for. The Relentless Flora Lynx is what they're looking at. Blazin, on the other hand, are we looking for maybe a fire version? Yes, that's exactly what's going for. They're hoping for potentially the Relentless Ember Lynx. Is there any other lynxes? Gatling's also got the Nimble Lynx going on here as well. And with so many people, they're going for the Nimble Flora Lynx as well. And then Zico Perico not in any guild. No worries, Zico Perico. I will correct that. All right. So leading off this lobby so far, Coyote Hype going for essentially just mass fighters as of this moment, with a couple of bulwarks to kind of hold the front line. We do see Zico Perico in the spot that they like to be in. Got the corner set up and are ready to have some sort of ranged carry eventually. The way that these augments are set up kind of signals to me maybe a Furiox is coming around, but it's not quite there just yet, so they're going to actually let all of the carrying being done by this very beautiful Railu. Level 58 onto that fella, going to be tied for leading the charge here. Or I'm looking at the wrong side, because Coyote Hype's got the Railu working overtime here as well. Almost 9,000 damage going over to Zico Perico's Railu, but it's not going to be enough. The Lynx and the Graco are going to be the ones finishing the job there in that fight. Now, Luca from Atlas. This is the first time we've seen Luca in a good while here. Look at them come compete in the Monarch Masters. And they are definitely, I think, the underdog in this scenario here, where they're just a couple of them in the 30s, if I recall. They have a couple in the 40s, so they're definitely on the come up. But level-wise, they are absolutely going to be at a disadvantage here. But a lot of the players that they would normally play against were in the Carablu Cup instead. So let's take a look and see what Luca can do here. Going up against Gatling, they do have the level advantage, at least by drone level or by your player level. The one extra Illuvial on the field. But the Illuvial disadvantage is where we're seeing Gatling really pull on through here. The ace flying all around, doing an absolute ton of damage as well. Over 4,000 damage done from that one Poodle Moth alone. And Luca taking a bunch of damage in this round once again. Matter 1 taking a bunch of damage here as well. They were going up against Hunter. Now we've got Matter 1 versus Luca. Let's see what Matter 1 is cooking up as of this moment. We normally see Matter 1 go for a very heavy water style, very commonly seeing 8 water come out from them. But they'll also pick up a Revo. It's really, really interesting, kind of getting at least the remnants of some sort of like Phantom Frost, but it's more so, I believe, to kind of help with positioning early at least. But in odd spots like this, where we see Luca in, I think, a pretty decent position, all things considered, where that Ranger is going to be diving directly into a tank rather than something squishy, the Ranger could get itself into trouble. We'll see if Luca can turn this one around. So far, they were able to take one of the Illuvials down, but we are seeing a very, very solid, an incredible, basically perfect Axon coming on through here for Matter 1. And that, alongside the rest of the gang here, is going to put the hurt here onto Luca once again. Knocking them down to 33. And then in regards to the lobby as a whole, let's take a look at Coyote Hype. See what kind of team they're building for a second. Mass Fighters, again, seems to be on the menu. We were talking about it a little bit earlier, but going up for that Relentless Flora Lynx. But with so many people actually going for middle stage Lynxes now, there's a point where maybe you're just going to be contested too badly to actually have to roll for it. The Lynxes might be good, but once people start figuring out that Lynxes are good, more people will start using it, which in turn kind of balances itself at least a little bit, as long as you're not Dust Revenant rogues from the optimization patch, if you know what I'm saying. Blazin versus Gatling. We've got the fire, but we've got some big nature Illuvials on the other side. It's just a matter of if this nature team for Gatling can hold on long enough before, or maybe even get the win before the hyper starts to kick in. We do see the Tofi actually on the side of Gatling is hypered up. It's ready to do a ton of damage. Here comes the shot. They're going to take out the Root Cub, but that is going to be it. Gatling will absolutely take the hit this time by. Another big win here for Blazin, looking for what, win number 3 potentially in the last month or so. Is Dust good again? No, I was making a reference to back to when it was insane. Dust is still fine. It gets splashed into composition still and it's just fine. But it's not like the Dust from before, from that optimization patch where there was the 9-second silence and blind. It's not that bad. All right. So we take a look at the teams here. Take a look at the economy. So Matter 1 and Kira, they do this every single week, and they're going to keep on pushing for it this way. Level 7, level 6, but they've blown essentially everything they have in the bank. But Hunter is also in the same boat here as someone who looks like they're set up to go for Rogue. But looking at the Illuvials they have, this kind of screams a pivot, and this would be the round to do it. Weapon changes are available here for the players. With the Ember Buckler, so that's going to be a switch up. And I see people taking things off the field and putting them onto the bench. I was wondering if there's composite crates. Nope, just going to be augments, it looks like. So no composite chips as of this moment, as we watch our top 2 competing in the battlefield right now. Coyote Hype on a perfect run as of right now, going up against Blazin. Blazin not on a win streak, but still very healthy. 80 health still to their name. Lots of fire compared to lots of nature. In theory, Blazin should go super effective, but you do have to worry about that little Riptorus that will absolutely shred any of your tanky units, and it is not going to care about your super effectiveness because it is a water type mixed in with this nature team. Immediately going to get the little shank onto that polar bear, and now it's in the back line. It's got the juicy bits all covered here. The Ranger, the Fury, they all get absolutely shredded. Mass Fighter with fire coming on out here for Coyote Hype just does some serious, serious damage. Or excuse me, say that around, turn that around. The Wildfire Nature coming on out here for Coyote Hype, doing some serious damage. That time was your favorite. Let's just say I'm very, very happy that those days are past us. Luca was able to snag a win here a moment ago. Now they're going up against current second place Zico Perico. But if our first game of the day had next to nothing in regards to fire, this game just has fire all over the place, to the point where everybody's stepping on each other's toes. Zico Perico spent all the way down to 20, and at this point here, they're looking for potentially more polar bears, maybe try to get the behemoth side of things online. They've got the Forest. That was a nice little upgrade there. But then for Luca, they are essentially 3 Poodle Moths away from being able to get Monarch, which would be awesome. Absolutely love Monarch. But with so many other people going for Inferno, that could be very problematic. And with a massive win here for Zico Perico, that will knock Luca out of here first in this one, which again, I will say for this instance, Luca, you're absolutely at the level disadvantage here in this lobby, but I had nobody else playing that matched your level, so I had to put you into this lobby here, even though you were absolutely at the disadvantage. To compensate, there will be more community rescue prizing going your way. Thank you for playing, and I hope you had fun with us nonetheless. Would love to definitely have you back again sometime soon. Oh, Zexy. That was the second game I've ever casted. In my time in college esports, I have casted over 36 esports titles. I'm not even exaggerating. Everything from StarCraft 2 to Overwatch, League of Legends, Teamfight Tactics. I've done many, many things. But right now, the main thing I'm focused on is the action that we have right here between Kira and Matter 1. Both these players showed up into Illuvium at the exact same time, and constantly at each other's throats. And while Kira might have had the better of Matter 1 last week, it looks like Matter 1 is going to get a little bit of a revenge shot here onto Kira here today, knocking them down to 11. Yes, GG's, Luca. Would love to have you again sometime soon. But now Kira's got to go up against Coyote Hype. Again, this was the very heavy nature composition. It's not more so towards Wildfire. 4 nature is still pretty heavy, but it's more so heavy towards the fighter side of things coming out here for Coyote Hype. Meanwhile, Kira, they've got Berserker because of the Greater Monk Gear, but otherwise, they are being blocked once again by Coyote Hype. We do see the Riptorus Scorpion v Scorpion about to be going down here. And unfortunately, I do not think here for Kira that there is any sort of protection for their Riptorus. In the 1v1, they're going to be able to burst down the opposing Riptor. But what about the rest of these Illuvials coming on through from the side of Coyote Hype? Can that Riptorus stay safe? It is super low. It's down to like 5 HP. But it will eventually go down. The Lynx is going to be able to clean it up. But this now leads into a 2-on-2. Now all down to the Lynx and the Fern, which means we will lose Kira. They will be 7th in this lobby. GG's, Kira. Hope you had a fun time, regardless of what your result might say. NPC round up ahead. We see Blazin'. They were up in the podium positions for the first little bit, but with so many fighters being taken off the board, and with fire being so heavily contested, it seems like they're kind of running out of gas a little bit, because they're completely out of credits. This NPC round could not have come at a better time, but what could possibly upgrade this team that isn't being run over by somebody else? Because Zico Perico in the lead here, they don't even have a Furiox right now with this full fire team, but they at least got Inferno, and they do have the ramp fight and forest for a little bit of additional damage. That is the one area where Blazin' will be ahead in, is the fact that they do have that Furiox already on board. It's kind of hidden, it's kind of hanging out right there in the middle. The only issue that I see with this current positioning, though, is that with the Furiox in that spot, it's not going to be inside of your Fernite's Twist Wing, which means that your Furiox is not going to get the major attack speed boost that the Fernite would, I'm sure, would love to give it. They are going to make the last minute move here, and they will actually do a bit of a semi-bunker here, and they do get the positioning to allow for the speed boost onto the Furiox. A good last minute move here for Blazin', because they absolutely need every little bit of firepower they can get, because Coyote Hype, they've got the fighters. They almost got 7 fighters, but it's still just going to be 6 for the time being. Rampy to the skies, and now they're going to trade spaces actually here with the Ace. The Ace is going to go finish off the Fern, which means there's no attack speed buff coming on out here for Coyote Hype anymore. And the Furiox is starting to open fire. It doesn't have attack damage augments, but it's got a damn lot of speed now, as well as being hyper. Big win for Blazin' to keep themselves in this game. Moments like that almost sound like I'm coaching, but there is, I believe, enough of a delay on the stream that players cannot just immediately make an adjustment based off of something I cast and say. Now we have a handful of players within kill shot. I want to hop on over to this one here. Hunter versus Gatling. Both in the single digits. Regardless of who loses, somebody will have their run end right here. Nimble Flora Lynx is here. That is a gorgeous Nimble Flora Lynx as well. Very, very tanky fella. What did Hunter end up going for? This was 6 Rogue with Revenant. Trying to see if they can make these Revenants work, but they're going to be jumping directly onto a bunch of magma. They're going to be taking more and more damage over time, but with the Lynx leading the charge, it kind of gives an additional tank to a team that is usually not that tanky. But that Mammoth, the Matude, is just holding the line for so long, it's going to shunt away the T-Ruo right into everybody, right under the name tag there of Gatling. We will see the Mammoth fire him away. And now the T-Anti is just doing a fantastic job firing off shots. The Adorito is keeping everybody alive. A valiant effort coming out here from these rogues for Hunter, but I do not see a world where they're going to be able to burn past this. They're on Gatling's turf. They are slowly but surely going to wind down, and that will be the end of the road here for Hunter. They will fall in 6th. Now, how about Blazin? Did they hang on by chance? It does look like they were able to. It's where Zico targets you every time. I mean, in a competitive setting, that's absolutely something you're going to have to deal with. I'd rather you learn it now than in a big money tournament, if that makes sense. Now, speaking of Zico Perico, oddly enough, Blazin's going to have to deal with them right here, right now. Massive win streak currently here for Zico Perico as well. 6 Fire Inferno looking very, very strong. But if Blazin can keep that Furiox safe, it might be okay. But that ramp fight just absolutely demolished the team. Blazin will be out of here in 5th, no 4th, because Gatling has also fallen. There are a lot of players within killshot as of this moment. And Coyote Hype's going to get the win onto Matter. But one thing that's pretty cool, actually, at least in my opinion, I'm going to have to fact check myself here. But I do not believe that Matter 1 has made a podium since either getting into Lynx League or in the newly revamped Monarch Masters. So Matter 1, probably on one of their better, if not best runs here today. But now they have to deal with Zico Perico. Nobody has any credits left in store. 6 water versus 6 fire. If this was Pokemon, this would just be super one-sided towards Matter 1. But this game's a little bit more advanced than that. Let's see how this goes. Ramp fight into the back line does so much damage. That is absolutely incredible. Big time win once again here for Zico Perico that will knock Matter 1 out, and Coyote Hype will be here short to follow. So for the 2nd week in a row, Zico Perico, the winner of the Monarch Masters B main. Congratulations. Incredible job here, everybody, once again. With so many players going for fire, Zico Perico was able to find themselves on top, scrapping on through, but holding a win streak to get all the way up there. Coyote Hype with the heavy nature team and to go for like a toxic fighter kind of style. I don't think they got that 7th fighter in time, but still making it all the way to a silver medal. Matter 1 with probably their best run since Monarch Masters, or since entering Monarch Masters. The heavy water team and air team, as always, going to be able to clutch it up. Kind of take advantage of the fact that a lot of these players went for fire when they were water. Blazing a valiant effort, but was absolutely contested on a lot of Illuvials. Considering we're going for Inferno and we're stuck with the ace, it just goes to show how popular those Poodle Moths were this game. Gatling with a nice matchup here as well, but was also kind of him and Han towards fire. Got the Furiox at least, and got the Archelion, which was holding the line very, very well. But the carries could not quite come online in time. Hunter went for Rogues, but was kind of forced to pivot into a Revenant style since there was contest from Matter and a couple of other players on the Penguins. Gonna find 6. Kira, similar situation. We see the 2 Stabbins there. Was contesting Matter and contesting Hunter for Rogues. Couldn't quite work out this time. And then Luca from Atlas will round up our results. Was absolutely the underdog in that matchup. So definitely understandable they had a little bit of a harder time, and mad respects for them for still holding their own. Getting the results all jotted down right now. All right. So flashbang warning once again. Let's take a look and see what everybody's getting here today. As a part of participating here in this matchup and based off of where you all finished, it will be Zico Perico coming home with 7 packs of Illuvials alongside some additional community rescue prizing, with everybody in this lobby. If they're eligible and they don't have a full collection already, or if the only thing, unless they have a full collection already, or the only things that they're missing are tier 5 stage 3s, they'll get something. If that's all that they're missing, we'll do our best for the future, but again, those are super, super rare, and I do not have many of those, so I wouldn't be able to help then. But if there's any players here, like I say, or I know, for example, for Kira, for Matter, and potentially more players looking to help build their collection, not only are the packs a thing, but the community rescue, regardless of where you finish in the lobby, will be coming on through for you, and you'll be getting at least a little bit of something. Zico literally had every Illuvial you had. Well, I mean, Inferno, its playstyle is unfortunately a little predictable. There's not much deviating that goes for Inferno Behemoth or Inferno Arcanite. If anything, the choice of whether you go Behemoth or not is like the biggest amount of deviating that you usually have to worry about. But at the end of the day, you still need that Arctase. And so many people had Poodle Moths. It was very tough to deal with. Coyote Hype getting 6 packs coming over towards them later on. We will then also have for third place Matter 1 for making the podium. 5 packs going over to Matter 1. And then last but not least, in regards to the packs for this lobby, Blazin', you've got the For Glory 4th pack. Or the For Glory single pack for 4th. Can still maybe hit a heavy hitter. There can be instances where all the people that win, I think I liked how Reem said it before, where someone can win the battle, but then in terms of the pack opening, somebody else could win the war. That's just the nature of the RNG, of course, in these Illuvial packs. And you never know. It might just be one pack, but it could be a hell of a good pack. So you never know. Now, last but not least, our Monarch Masters our main event. We've got Hector, Kirito, Sota, Thanatos, Wolverine 777, and since we do have openings, I'm gonna check my Discord real fast beforehand. And then from there, it doesn't look like there's anybody else who wants to play. So, Seiko Perico, if you want to take the bump up into the A main, you can. Coyote Hype, if you want to take the bump up into the A main, you can. Matter 1, if you want to take the bump up into the A main, you can. If you don't want to, that's A-okay. Then I'll offer the next player, which in this instance would be Blazin'. Let's get our lobby started. Leviathan. Hector. Code in chat in just a second here. Then I'll throw it in the Discord in just a second. Matter says yes. All right, sounds great. Just quickly jotting it down. Bear with me a second. So Coyote, Matter, Hector, Sota, Thanatos, Wolverine, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And yeah, Coyote said they're in. Matter said they're in. Zico Perico, I'll ping you here as well. Why am I only at 7? Who am I missing? That's why. I always mix up Kirito and Coyote. I see one of them, and then I don't know if I'm just dyslexic or what, but I think I ping them both when I type one of their names in. There we go. Sorry, Kirito. There we go. Code's in the Discord. All right. There we are. All right, y'all are fast. Nice. Okay. Yeah, just waiting for Matter 1. They'll be here in a moment, I'm sure. Gives me a chance for a water break, so that works out. Of course, Illuvium Arena House League will be happening every single Friday, regardless of where the new car smell happens to be. I know a lot of people are, of course, myself included, very excited that the playtest has expanded to the playtest phase 2. So I think there's like 150 some odd people now that could potentially come on in and play the game and test it out with us. But even with all the Obelisk Rising hype, even when Obelisk Rising releases, my plan is to keep Illuvium Arena House League going. Will it stay in the same state? I'm not 100% sure because, of course, a lot of the pricing as it stands right now relies around packs. And I do imagine that when Obelisk Rising comes out, packs will probably be axed. This is just me speculating, of course. But in theory, it would make sense if you're trying to catch Illuvials, you want it all done through the MMO. And that the auto drones and the deathmatch packs are just kind of our placeholder for now until we can actually get in. But one way or another, I want to have this Arena House League still going every week. Matter 1 has arrived. There we go. Let's start this thing off. Good luck. Have fun, everybody. Looking forward to this one. Could get crazy. Because with all the players that we currently have in the lobby, I don't think I've seen really any of them prioritize a Lynx ever. We did not necessarily see much of a representation there for Lynxes in the last one. We did see, I believe it was Hunter, added the Nimble Flora Lynx to their Rogue team. But to be fair, that Rogue team was also missing a few pieces. A couple of the pieces were contested, of course. So, I'm not going to blame that one on the Lynx. That was just a tough lobby to try and make that team comp happen, given how it ended up. That's a-okay. But also, in regards to the Obelisk Rising, if you did sign up for the playtest and you haven't checked in a little bit, please do double check your email and check your spam folder, because you very well could have gotten an invite code that you would use in the Epic Game Store. And I would hate for you to miss out because it was hiding in a spam folder or something like that. And then if not, no worries. Hopefully sooner rather than later, we all can play together. Loading in now for our final game of the day. Okay, let's do this. Oh, I need the cover music. That's the thing, I don't do any breaks, so you all get to see me micromanaging the stream kind of live. So bear with me for just the briefest of seconds as we get into our final match of the evening. We have our Monarch Masters main event. In this lobby, we have Wolverine 777 hype. We have Kirito. We have Hector from Mad Dogs. We have Thanatos. We have coming up from the B main after a fantastic third place finish, Matter 1. We have also coming up from the B main, Coyote hype after getting second place. Also coming up from the B main after getting the victory, we have Zico Perico. And then we have, last but not least, potentially the player that can become the most winningest player in Illuvium Arena House League if they win this game today. That, of course, is Sota hype. Ethit, your key was in the spam folder. There you go. Would love to see you in Obelisk Rising sometime soon here. Congratulations. Come give it a shot. Now, we did hit round number 4, so while we wrap up this battle here between Coyote Hype and Zico Perico, let's take a look at the weapons. And there is a whole lack of red in this weapons chart, if I'm looking at this correctly. In fact, nature seems to be a little bit crazy as this moment, with maybe Earth short to follow. But let's go from top to bottom here. We've got Wolverine 777 picking up the Aqua Blaster. That is your water scion weapon. Hector from Mad Dogs picking up the Elderwood Staff. That is your nature empath weapon. Kirito with the Earthgrass Scepter in hands. That's your Earth Scion weapon. Coyote Hype also with the Aqua Blaster in hands, your Water Scions. Sota also with the Elderwood Staff, Nature Empath. We have Matter 1, that's not a water weapon. That is the Emberling Rod, the Nature Scion weapon. Thanatos, we know what they like. It's going to be the Vinebound Cleaver, your Nature Rogue weapon. Last but not least, Zico Perico, Shadow Maul, your Earth Empath weapon. Zico Perico we see in action once again up against Sota. Sota going to be able to get the win this time by. And we know Sota basically has 2 modes. We know them best for their rogue team. It is one of, if not the best rogue team that we have in the entire community. And the entire scene and the entire game. It's probably not a stretch for me to say that at this point. But we do know from patches in the past that they were building up a corner composition as well, which of course is basically the polar opposite of Rogue in this instance. But when you have players that we know really enjoy Rogue, like say with Thanatos for example, they have Rogue what feels like 9 times out of 10. Hector probably has half of their games on Rogue as well. So do you want to go up and contest them when you know that they're in the lobby? Or do you want to have some sort of backup? It looks like the Empath staff or the Elderwood staff is the way to go, but there are a couple of other players with that weapon as well, so it's not going to be so clean cut here for Sota if they want to try and get their 9th win and be the first person to reach 9 wins. Thanatos with their rogue squad was able to take down Coyote Hype, a very early Penguin coming on in here for Thanatos as well. Offensively, basically perfect, considering the Penguin's Omega is more so of a utility steroid rather than a massive amount of burst damage per se. But I will be careful. I was hollow here. I gotta watch myself if I say that Penguins don't have burst damage, because they absolutely do, just not in the traditional sense. All right, let's take a look at the economy here in our main event. We do have Wolverine going to be up into the 70s, 67 as of this moment. Hector in the 60s as well. Thanatos in the 50s alongside Kirito, Coyote, and Zico Perico. Then Hector into the 60s. And Sota into the 60s. And Matter 1, they're playing this exactly like they did the last game. Spend everything down to the single digits. But finding a couple of decent fighters to kind of start off their lineup. I didn't get the opportunity to talk about the region that we're at right now, because you might notice there's a few more Illuvials on board than you would normally see at this point of the game. Well, that is exactly due to the region. Sanctum Mesa, players got 1 additional Illuvial slot compared to normal. Flood the board much, much quicker, and then also maybe be able to potentially get some different compositions, or get those compositions that you're looking for much, much faster. We have Wolverine going up against Thanatos. Thanatos has been on a bit of a win streak, but Wolverine completely flawless as of this moment. But it's going to be all on the TNT to potentially go up against these 4 rogues, and I don't see a world where it happens. That's going to be the 2 Lynxes, the Ranger and the Pengu, coming on through, stopping the win streak of Wolverine. Thanatos, no stranger to winning here in the Illuvium Arena House League as well. In the Monarch Masters main event, they have a couple of wins under their belt as of this moment, looking for yet another. Lynx check, we do have, sure enough, the player with the Lynx as the profile picture. That's going to be Kirito, building up this relentless Ember Lynx. Hello, beautiful. That might be one of the best Lynxes I've ever seen. Nearly perfect stats considering we don't really take movement speed into consideration. With the only thing missing, 1 bit of attack speed. That is an absolute gorgeous, gorgeous Lynx. Let's see how this team performs up against Wolverine. We saw Wolverine get their win streak snapped just a second ago. But right now, this Enchanter style coming out here from Kirito with the Lynx in hand. Everybody's nice and clumped up. They're kind of battling it out on the front line right on top of the Archos, which kept them all relatively healthy. Look at this Lynx. It's not been touched at all. Absolute destruction coming out here from Kirito. Wolverine going to take their second hit in a row, but I do not blame them. That was a hell of a team to have to deal with. Of course, again, we did get the update just a couple of days ago that made it that you can select exactly the kind of Lynx that you want on your team. In the Carablu Cup, it came as a big impact play where we did see Awaken Aegis boost the hell out of a Stoic Terra Lynx and turn that thing not just into a tanky monstrosity, but an absolute carry of a damage dealer. In the second game, it wasn't necessarily as much of a factor. Will it be a big factor here in this game? We'll have to see. Let's see one more time here. Kirito going up against Hector. I believe Hector does have the level advantage based off of their drone or their player level. But again, what's the Lynx diff in this instance here alongside that Enchanter buff that is constantly being spammed out whenever you're seeing those pink flashing lights? That's that Enchanter buff coming on through. That's healing everybody. That's dealing some damage at the same time. And that will be an absolute massacre once again for Kirito. Their team looks absolutely devastating. Let's hop on over down towards the bottom where we're currently seeing Hector going up against Zico Perico. 2 players taking a hand or a decent amount of damage. Zico Perico taking an absolute ton of damage, already down to 43. But the thing with both of these players to note is that they both have above maximum credits or maximum interest, 70 at least here. So they're getting 7 additional credits every single round. But of course, by holding that much credits, you're not necessarily getting the evolutions that you're potentially looking for an early game spike. And just kind of working with whatever the game gets you, which is a great late game play, but you have to make sure, of course, that you have enough HP to begin with. Oddly enough, both of these players going for Templar, but it looks like here for the green side, for the side of Zico Perico, that they are a little bit more heavily invested into that fighter side. Look at that Railu go. It is just on an absolute tear in this instance. Rapid fire Red Panda coming on through beautifully, taking mad usage out of that Hyper Force reactor. We don't usually get to see this Red Panda pop off. It's usually kind of under the radar, but we have to give credit where credit's due. Beautifully done here by the Railu. Spitting bars out here, apparently. God dang there. Incredible Railu. Well, we have an NPC round to break up the action, and then the weapon switches will be happening next round as well. Round 13 in the competitive side of things of Illuvium is probably one of the most critical rounds in the entire game. Getting the NPC rounds, getting the weapon switch, and then we'll see a ton of players over and over again roll extremely heavily here. Especially for rogues sitting at level 7, this can oftentimes be an all or nothing kind of play. So Thanatos, I mean, off the rip here, they're looking fantastic. They've already got stabbing, they're looking good. But who else gets rogues? Sota. They switch to rogues, and they have a Lallura. So picking off one of those Vanguard Illuvials, or at least making it difficult here for Thanatos to potentially finish it. Because, of course, for the Star-Nosed Mole, that Vanguard proc does not come until it's a fully evolved Malura. But Sota making the switch over to rogue scares the absolute hell out of me, and should probably scare the hell out of everybody else in this lobby here as well. But a lot of players actually holding the trigger, not actually going all for broke. 2, 3 players, 70 above in terms of credits. With Zico Perico and Coyote Hype basically being 2 of those players doing exactly that. Coyote Hype all this time has got the Harbinger thing going on with this beautiful Axon leading the charge. Level 60, maxed out on defenses. It's holding a line up against this Railu for a very, very long time. And to make matters just crazier for everybody involved, we do have composite ships in this lobby. Seiko Perico going to get the win once again. Is that going to be the Railu leading the charge? No, actually. The Jokul that was just joining the team popped off that round beautifully. But that adds another layer to this game that we have not gotten the chance to talk about. Composite chips. We've seen it in game number 1 with the Carablu Cup. But now it could absolutely make some of these teams go absolutely insane. An additional thorn in the side here for both Sota and Thanatos. Those two players, of course, with the Rogues, going to be contesting each other. Matter 1 also loves to have a stab-in as well, just for that mass water effect. So that's more penguins taken off the board here for Thanatos and Sota. With Matter 1's team, at least, though, they don't usually fully rely on the slashing. They're content if they're staying with stabbing. We see the Toxic chip online here for Matter 1, so I'd argue probably not the one that they were hoping for, but still gets to get more utilization out of that Riptorus and the Caradulo when the time comes. But look at this team here for Matter 1. We know they have basically one team, but they know how to use it, and they're going to absolutely demolish Coyote Hype in this instance. Level 59 onto that Jokul. 50 here for the Stabbin'. Beautiful stats. We've seen in this week in Illuvium as well. Kira, Matter 1, there's a handful of players right now that have been on the come up trying to find some good deals for some very, very strong Illuvials. And they've been able to absolutely capitalize. Now Kirito into the mix, also grabbing a Lolura. So Rogues, I don't know how you're going to actually pull this off. Because Kirito picked this up not for the sake of playing Rogue, but maybe for the sake of playing Bloom. Let's get another look at this, actually. Because the Bloom, it's not going to necessarily make a whole ton of sense right now, because the Lolura is not going to carry anything. The Ranger is going to be doing some pretty decent damage and healing at the same time. But the big hit here for Kirito, if they can actually pull this off, would be when Forest comes into the play. The Tier 5 Stage 2 Terrorbird. If that or the Phosphorus comes through and that starts getting its Bloom buff, that is going to be absolutely devastating to deal with, considering the Enchanters are there to back up the Phosphorus. And hell, if you've got the big cat, you've got the big Relentless Emberlynx tearing a hole through everything that it sees, well, that's just the cherry on top, so to speak. And they will absolutely tear Matter 1, a new one in this one, knocking them down to about 27 HP. Coyote Hype down to 20 as well. Let's see. Coyote Hype versus Soda Hype. They made the switch to Rogues, but it's being so contested that they are going to have to absolutely earn this through the most intense styles possible. And we're kind of seeing the idea of what they're going to change to, thanks to that composite chip. Due to Vanguards being so heavily contested, Sota is going to have to go full patch 1.12, the old school Rogue Revenant. It's the style that I remember Sota for from way back before even the Illuvium Pro League. It's not as crazy as it used to be, but it could still be a very devastating team in the right hands. Revenant Chip Pangu still looking as devastating as ever. Coming on through big time with over 16,000 damage just by themselves. Beautifully done there from Sota. They're going to knock Coyote Hype down to 4. That's not a kill shot, but now Coyote Hype really has her back up against the wall. While all of this is happening, though, and I'm talking about Rogues being contested and having a bad time, one player that would absolutely love to, or they would love me to shut my mouth and just watch what they're doing, is Thanatos. Even though they are very heavily contested, they got the Vanguard chip, it looks like, and they've attached that to a ramp fight. So that thing's going to be devastating. 3 Vanguard online already. So in terms of the class and getting that kind of buff, they are already in a great spot. They, of course, would love to have Malura, but again, just having 3 Vanguard is incredible as it stands right now. Thanatos will be going up against Zico Perico. That's definitely interesting, and I want to see that in a little bit. But right now, I want to take a look at Hector from Mad Dogs and Coyote Hype, because this could be an elimination blow here for Coyote Hype if things do not go their way. But we do see some major differences coming out between these two players. Coyote Hype, level 9, trying to get more Illuvials onto the board, almost 6 water. Lots of Scions on board, but the Scions are still babies. We see the stage 1s, the Alfie and the Squiz. They have some levels on them, but they might not have the firepower compared to the now level 8 Hector, who does have this absolutely gorgeous Furiox in the backline, ready to rock their world, as well as this Forest with level 61. That bird has seen some incredible battles onto the arena. Has tons of experience. Or does that first Sin-Off beam come through? The evolution onto the Sin-Off, I mean, there he goes. So we don't have to worry about the baby form coming on through. But the big shields and heals coming out from Hector, just absolutely shutting down the Sin-Off beams. All of that is going into shield. And Squiz does not have the firepower to get the follow-up shot and get the kill. And because of that, all the damage that Coyote Hype is doing is just going to be healed up super, super quickly and mitigated by shields. So with that, Hector, with a different team composition than what we're used to seeing, will be able to flourish and get the kill shot onto Coyote Hype. We will also see Matter 1 get knocked out here as well. GG's, everybody. I hope you had fun no matter what. Always a pleasure seeing you and everybody else on the battlefield. Potential Hype team kill here if things do not go Wolverine's way. And they should be terrified because something absolutely went in favor of Sota. Malura, somehow, through how many people were playing Rogues, was able to find the fully evolved Malura. However, on the other side, Wolverine, fully evolved Mammoth. The Mammut is here ready to rock, and it's loaded up with a bunch of support augments. Tanky as can be, and will heal a ton from the Enchanter buffs if they can stay alive to 15 seconds. It's a very, very tanky Illuvial, but again, we're dealing with Vanguards. Revenant Vanguards at that. The Mammoth already down to half HP, but the Stabbin's kind of stuck. It doesn't know exactly where to swing. It's going up against the Riptorus as of this moment. We'll be able to take it down, but the Mammoth has made it past around 15 seconds. The Flood heals should be able to keep it alive a little bit until the Stabbin locks eyes on you and absolutely massacres the rest of the team. Wolverine will fall here in 6th place. What is going on with Thanatos as of this moment? I want to take a look. We haven't necessarily got the opportunity to take a look and see what they've been building, but the one thing that they have going in their favor in this Rogue race is they were the winner of the Slashin' Rogue race. So they've got the big hyper carry, but they are not going to be able to hit that 4th Vanguard. That is going to be absolutely irritating unless something absolutely miraculous goes into their favor, because it is possible to get 2 fully evolved tier 3s, but the odds of that happening are extremely low. But how about this ramp fight? It's made it into the back lines. This Infernal Skyfall should be absolutely devastating to the skies, and it hits pretty much everything. It's just a matter of letting that slashing in, that it has that Super Surger online, basically the range and the damage steroid on top of everything else. This is not only a big win here for Thanatos, but that was an absolute massacre. Hector's team tried their damnedest, but could not hold. Hector down to the single digits. Zico Perico also down into the single digits. Kirito trying to hold their own as well. Who are they going up against at this moment? They are going up against the Ghost of Hector. And this one went down to the wire, and I'm not sure if Kirito's actually going to be able to survive this. This can sometimes happen when it's 2 teams that rely very heavily on just staying alive. So a scary spot indeed for a couple of our players here. Thanatos going up against Zico Perico. Zico Perico has a lot of options and a lot of damage, but the one thing that they do not have a lot of is tankiness. That Singe is somehow supposed to hold off this entire rogue onslaught. And I'm not sure how they're going to try and do this. The Singe does make the last minute move. We did see the Aegis chip onto this bear to try and supercharge that Furiox even more. The more it fires off its Omega, the better. And that Goliath did straight up get melted. To be fair, Zico Perico is just doing so much damage, it's not even funny. But can they lock on to the slash? And they will not be able to. Thanatos with an absolute massacre. But look at the back line. Can this Ramp Fight and the Arctase and the Ranger maybe pull this off? The Rogues are split. Can there be a world where this Arctase can somehow clutch up? The Inferno is going on through, but it's not going to be enough. Thanatos going to get the win there, and we will lose Hector as well. Hector going to fall in 5th. Zico Perico falling in 4th, and we lose Kirito as well. A triple kill here in this matchup. So once again, GG's everybody. Hope you had fun regardless of where you finish. Hector, I'm sorry it didn't work out here for you, but a pleasure having you in the game once again here with us. Thank you for joining. Thank you all for joining us here today. And then in regards to the prizing finishes, Kirito making the podium. There will be a bunch of prizes in regards to Illuvium packs, Illuvial packs going their way. Zico Perico snags once again, makes the bump up, and gets all the way into the prizes once again. They get the For Glory 4th pack. Now we're in a tale that I've seen way too many times in the past. When the composite chips come out, the Rogues find a way to get to the top, but at the same time, it's not just a matter of the Rogues finding a way. These are two of the best players in regards to playing Rogues. There's about 3 or 4 incredible Rogue players that I could list off here. And we have 2 of them right here, right now. One found the Malura. The other found the Slashin'. And it's still pretty even, or not even on health. Thanatos is definitely ahead. But Sota does have room to make a mistake. Off the rip here, the Malura is doing a good job of holding a bunch of them into the corner. And even without the slash in, this is looking incredible here for Sota. Giving Thanatos their first loss in a good while. Hector, that's why I said some of, my friend. That's why I said I could list a couple. I see you. But let's see. So Thanatos, a lot of their carry potential, of course, onto this slash. And level 60, basically perfect, just missing attack speed. Meanwhile, Sotas is a little bit more spread out, but this is the Revenant style. The level 60, perfect stabbing. We do have the Rake here as well. Almost level 60, perfect Rake. Familiar, yeah, that's perfect too, level 60. Same thing with the Malura. This is what I'm saying in regards to Sota probably having one of, if not the best rogue team in the entire community. Looking at that ramp fight, level 61, that thing could pack a punch. Do not let me sleep on Thanatos. But the stabbing is going to be able to actually take out the older brother. Slashing goes down super, super quickly. Where's the firepower here for Thanatos? I don't see it at all. The Revenants stand tall. Which leads us to potentially 2 more showdowns if Sota can keep the win streak going. Both players at this point with essentially 2 lives left. Now, I was glazing up Sota's Illuvials, but let's take a look again here with Hector. A beautiful level 60 Adorito, hollowed up as well. Level 50 on that Fernite, that's a great Fernite. Even the Lolura, almost level 60. It's all just a matter of positioning. The Slashion's going to try and go head first into a Goliath. Because if it can get through that Goliath relatively quickly, it's going to be able to feast its eyes on that Adorito and get rid of the heals nice and fast. But that Goliath is holding up remarkably, and it's got the Halo Stasis Reactor as well. It's got crit damage reduction, so the Slashin has not been as effective as it could normally be. And that's allowing for everybody else on the side of Soda to absolutely massacre through the rest of the team. So not only are the Illuvials fantastic on both sides, but we're seeing a little bit more of an optimal augment setup here for Sota. That holostasis reactor, a lot of people have kind of been moving away from it since it got nerfed a little while ago, but it is the only augment that I believe in the game that has crit damage reduction. And on top of all of this, Sota has Spore and Dust. And the only true sight is from the Ranger, and I guess the Malura has it too if it can last a couple of seconds. Built to disrupt. Meanwhile, Thanatos is built to snowball, but they need to keep that slashing alive. The Malura, big charm, big blender, big damage. The Stabbin is going to be able to clean up the rest of these Illuvials. Heck, the Vermiliaire is there too. And what looked like was going to be a washed out game there for Sota, where they went for the Empaths and it wasn't working out for them. Switching to Rogues when it was heavily contested. Well, it all ended up absolutely worth it in the end. Sota hype. That is win number 9 for you here in the Illuvium Arena House League. And you are now the most winningest player in the entire league. Congratulations on the victory. And on the achievement. An absolutely incredible battle here to wrap up our House League. Sota's pumped, hell yeah, that's what we love to see. That was an incredible battle. Sota with the victory. Thanatos again, a very valiant effort. It's going to be second to Sota the second week in a row, but again, incredible team, incredible play from Thanatos as well, getting up to second. Kirito making the podium with that Enchanter team. That was really cool to see as well. Zico Perico, again, I don't usually see Railu being a carry, but we had a couple of awesome moments there. Made the switch over to Fire, went pretty far, going to end up 4th there. Hector once again getting contested to the point where they don't even have Archos. I swear to God, it's something every single week here for poor Hector. But 5th, all things considered, still solid, all things considered. Wolverine 777 hype went for the water and air-based style, went for some Harbinger. Had the fully evolved Mammoth, but it just kept getting shredded by Rogues. Then Matter 1 and Coyote hype. Matter 1 in particular had the team that they were looking for, but again, if they were trying to rely on Stabbin as the carry, there was Penguins all over the place. That was hard to do. Then Coyote hype went for the Scions, but again, when Rogues are very, very strong, they take a lot of damage off you early. And could not hang on in the end. But nonetheless, big thank you to everybody who played here today. And I hope regardless of what the results ended up becoming, that you did have fun, first and foremost. Because while there is prizes on the line, while this is a competition, there's a reason why I call this semi-competitive. Because the entire idea here for House League is that I want this to kind of be your foot in the door to what a competitive setting feels like in the Illuvium Arena. So that way, when the big money tournaments, or when just bigger tournaments rather, when bigger tournaments come out, you'll be ready for it. You'll know the experience, you'll know the feel, you'll know the jitters. That way you can focus first and foremost on your play and your team, rather than how does the actual tournament experience feel. While also being able to help build collections for those that need it. And especially for some of the Monarch Masters on the A main, for example. I know majority of you probably have a full collection at this point. If I can help you benefit off of Deathmatch, or you find something that you want to trade to somebody, I'm just happy you're here. Because that's the big thing. Once you have the Illuvials, once you have the prizes, it doesn't bother me what you do with them. I'm just happy you're here. Happy to keep this community going, have some sort of competitive outlet. And I'm thankful that you all are here week in, week out. It's always a pleasure, and it does not get old. My absolute pleasure there, everybody. Thank you. Thank you so much for playing. Thank you for watching. This was fun. Zico Perico, that composite trolled me, giving Frost Aegis or Mystic with a fire. Sometimes it doesn't hit. And hates that it didn't for not just you. I know Hector got bit a little bit. Matter got bit a little bit. But it's the nature of competitive when everybody has that one team that they're going for. Well, not that one team that they're going for, but when multiple people are trying to play the same team. Playing well contested is absolutely something you got to learn. And I know that's going to be a big reason why, if there is ever any tournaments that I can actually enter, that I'm just going to get crushed because I'm never used to my teams being contested. It's not something that's very practiced. Who in the right mind is playing Invoker, right? So I'm very rarely actually in a spot where I'm contested. I don't know how to deal with it. And it's a skill that everybody does definitely need to learn. And if they can learn it here first, might not go their way a few times, but if it means it goes your way when it matters, then hell yeah. That's what it's all about. You always get the worst RNG. I know, it's been a couple weeks in a row. Like, literally all month. There's always been something, and that's why I was saying, like, when I saw, or you made the call out that you still just had an Archie, it's like, that's a tier 1, man. Like, how did that not evolve? It was just super unlucky. No, definitely super, super unlucky. It's hard to learn in ladder when you can pretty much always play whatever you want. Especially when, right now, in Arena, like, you can get some lobbies where it's 5 out of 6, for example, or 5 or 6 players, and get some decently tough lobbies. But you never get that true experience until you have a full 8-player lobby. And then especially when you have multiple players playing to the T in terms of the data, in terms of analytics, so that they're going for maybe one of 2 or 3 teams, but you have 8 players doing that. It's absolutely a skill that needs to be learned. And it's super, super tough, and I'm glad that we can do that alongside build collections here with House League. It's absolutely a pleasure. In terms of streams for the week, that will be it for me. I do not have anything happening through the weekend for stream-wise. I'm going to be busy, so I'm unfortunately not going to be able to cover Ratty Data's season finale here happening tomorrow, I believe. If you are in that one, massive good luck to everybody. And if you are on the outside looking in, please do take a look at that as well, because from what it looks like, there's maybe a case for certain players where the prizes aren't good enough and they're actually not going to play in the finals. So please make sure, because one person's trash is another person's treasure. And you could still potentially have the opportunity at some awesome treasures with what Ratty Data and Illuvium are putting together there. Speaking of Illuvium, a massive thank you to them for providing the skulls necessary to get the Illuvium packs that are used here in today's prizes. I never went over the prizes here for our Monarch Masters main event, so let me do that real fast. But for the first place finish there for Sota, we've got 10 packs coming their way, and if necessary for anybody in the lobby, there is community rescue prizing. But I imagine pretty much everybody at this level is probably set. There might be an exception here or two, but if you're eligible, we'll gladly add some more community rescue prizing. And then for those players that have played in multiple lobbies, that community rescue prizing stacks, by the way. So even if you went into a lobby where you were an absolute underdog, that's technically 10 community rescue points going your way. So we can build your collection even faster. Second place, of course, Thanatos will be getting 9 packs going their way. Third place will be Kirito Hype. Kirito going to have 8 packs going their way. And then last but not least, the For Glory 4th pack going over to Zico Perico after they were successful at getting the victory in the B main. They'll get 1 more pack to their troubles. So that's going to be a total of 8 going the way of Zico Perico. One more time, massive thank you again to everybody who participated, watched, just tuning in and having a blast here with us for the Illuvium Arena House League. Thank you so much. This is an absolute blast to run in, week out. And as long as I'm having fun, as long as all of you are still having fun, we'll keep doing it. And that's just the sentiment for the channel as a whole. I've been trying my damnedest to build this channel just off of Illuvium alone, not pivoting to anything else. And as long as I'm having fun, we'll keep doing it. To the new faces that are here, massive thank you and good to see you. To the veterans that have been with me since essentially last August or anywhere in between, it's an absolute pleasure to have you. Thank you so much. And I look forward to more. To me, with Illuvium, this is still just the beginning, and I want to keep on pushing to show not just the Web3 crowd that this is a good game, but traditional gamers. And by traditional gamers being able to look up Illuvium on YouTube and then see the gameplay, see our events, see all of you guys competing, that's what it's all about. That this isn't just some project that has a name on it, a token, and then they're trying to get you to get involved. And then you look up on YouTube and there's no gameplay to be found. Us as a whole are pushing this further. So thank you. Thank you for being a part of it. We will be back with streams next Monday, or this Monday coming up. I think we'll be back with one stream of Obelisk Rising, one stream of Arena. We have news on Wednesday. We'll figure out what we're doing on Thursday, depending on what's going on. If I have a certain stipulation or something in regards to Obelisk Rising, we'll do that. Otherwise, that'll probably be my Try Hard Arena Day on Thursday. And then next Friday, we'll be right back here with more Illuvium Arena House League. But I do got to close things out here for today. Thank you so much for joining me. Drop a like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you've not done so already on your way out. And I look forward to seeing you all on Monday for some more Illuvium. Take care, everybody. Have a fantastic weekend.